whole town abandoned, they say.
Haunted by the spirits of miners lost in the collapse.
The friends huddled closer, the flickering light of the campfire casting eerie shadows on their faces. They were engrossed in local legend, the tale of Willow Creek, a ghost town swallowed by darkness after a mine collapse decades ago.
No one dares to go there anymore. They say the lost souls still roam the empty streets searching for something.
For revenge.
Despite their fear, the allure of the unknown, the thrill of the legend was too strong to resist.
I dare you. Let's go to Willow Creek.
The old dirt road groaned under the weight of the car, kicking up dust devils in their wake. The sun was beginning to set, casting long, ominous shadows across the barren landscape.
Are you sure this is the way?
The closer they got to Willow Creek, the heavier the atmosphere grew, a palpable sense of dread settling over them. As they rounded a bend, a weather-beaten sign, its paint peeling, loomed into view. Welcome to Willow Creek, population 0. A chill ran down their spines.
Well, this is it.
The once charming town lay before them, now a skeletal husk of its former self. Buildings stood empty, windows like vacant eyes staring out at them. The silence was unnerving, broken only by the mournful creaking of a rusty swing set in the deserted playground. They had entered a ghost town both literally and figuratively. They stepped out of the car into the stillness, the air thick with an eerie silence and the feeling of unseen eyes watching their every move. The remnants of the town stood like hollow reminders of a life long gone, a dilapidated general store with shelves gathering dust, a crumbling church with its steeple reaching for a heaven that felt very far away.
Hello?
His voice echoed through the empty streets. The only answer was the mournful sigh of the wind. As they ventured deeper into the heart of Willow Creek, the feeling of unease intensified. The shadows seemed to deepen, twisting into grotesque shapes that danced at the edge of their vision. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream pierced the silence. Frozen in fear, their hearts pounding against their ribs, they listened intently. The scream came again, this time closer, followed by a frantic splashing sound. Their eyes darted towards the creek that snaked its way through the town, its water black as ink in the fading light. They exchanged nervous glances, a silent agreement passing between them. Slowly they crept towards the creek, their footsteps echoing in the stillness. As they neared the bank, a chilling sight met their eyes.
This is getting creepy even for me.
A child's doll, its porcelain face cracked and one eye missing, bobbed on the surface of the water. The current pulled it gently as if an unseen hand played with it. Jake reached out with a stick to retrieve the doll. As his stick touched the water, a cold wind whipped around them and the temperature plummeted. The air crackled with an unseen energy and the shadows around them seemed to writhe and twist. Fear, raw and primal, tightened its grip on their chests, making it hard to breathe. Before them, swirling in the air above the creek, a faint ethereal glow appeared, taking the shape of a miner, his face gaunt and sorrowful.
Heed my warning.
The apparition rasped, his voice a hollow echo in the twilight.
Leave this place and never return. The secrets of Willow Creek are not meant for the living.
Terror lent them speed. They stumbled back from the creek, their eyes wide with terror. The apparition flickered once, its sorrowful gaze lingering on them, then vanished as quickly as it had appeared. Panting, they huddled together for a moment, their fear a tangible thing shared between them.
We need to get out of here.
Emily choked out, her voice trembling. They all nodded in agreement. They scrambled back to the car, their earlier bravado replaced with a raw terror that clawed at their throats. As Jake fumbled with the keys, his hands shaking so badly he could barely get the key in the ignition, they heard it again, the mournful cry echoing through the empty streets, seemingly closer than before. The engine sputtered, then roared to life. They didn't waste a second, reversing with tires spitting gravel, not daring to look back. As they sped away, the image of the ghostly miner and the sound of his warning echoed in their minds. They had escaped Willow Creek, but the town and its secrets had left an indelible mark on their souls. The secrets of Willow Creek stayed buried that night, but the friends knew deep down that some things are best left undisturbed. The experience had tested their courage and their friendship, but it had also bound them together in a way they never thought possible. They had faced their fear and lived to tell the tale, but the question lingered: what would they do when the nightmares began?